Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's video going to be a bit of a mix of a few different things. First thing is Plough has been hooked on the new tractor actually. Doing a little bit of preparation work on the plough itself just for ploughing, which is going to be starting for about 2 weeks still. So yeah, so we'll be into October hopefully when we get going, weather permitting, and put on the new tractor. It's not going to be actually staying on the new tractor. The plough will be going on the 6930, but initially we might do a bit of ploughing with the new tractor just for try it out on the plough, and yeah, just for using it. And when we're a little bit of ploughing done, or a day or 2 days ploughing ahead, or a day's ploughing ahead, we'll maybe put it on put the plough back on the 6930, and the drill will be going on the new tractor, and drilling will all be done with it. So yeah, what are we doing with it? Well, we've been just more or less checking everything out, make sure first of all everything works as it should, which it is, and we had to put the discs back on the plough. So we took all the discs off the plough except for the back two last year, because we had a bit of an issue which we've never actually had before, where plough was hitting some stones, pulling up some stones. Stones would come up, would catch somewhere along here, push this all back, would shear this leg here, or this arm if you like, here where it bolts on onto the plough itself, and yeah, you'd be left with the disc basically laying on the ground, and you needed a new leg. So it happened once, which was grand. We got a leg easily enough, and then it happened the second time, and we said, okay, let's try the plough with the discs off it. You know, we're ploughing stubbles, so that might be fine. Took all the discs off it except for the back two, and we got it ploughed and everything done. But we did miss not having the discs on the plough, because it does leave a nicer job when the discs on the plough. It just cuts the ground nicely, turns the stubble over nicely, leaves a nice clean cut for the skimmer to do its work initially, and then for the plough itself then, or the board, to turn it over. So it does do a nice job with the discs on it. So decision was made to put all the discs back on. So I have all the bottom ones on, so the 4 is on the bottom, and I have 3 of them on here, but I need to still replace the leg on that one there. So I just want to get everything on, make sure everything was okay, and we can then start to work on, we'll pick up that leg or that arm, this the other disc there. So yeah, we'll pick that up, we'll get that sorted now over the next few days. But yeah, it's not really anything much more to be done with it. I will let the plough down and just grease it. You can release all the bodies, and just a bit of greasing to be done. There's a bit of grease going here where it pivots if you hit a stone, and yeah, it takes about half an hour just to go around, grease everything, pump up the wheel on the far side, and hopefully that'll be it. The other thing we done last year as well, which was a little different from other years, I mixed up a concoction of like waste oil and some grease just in a little cup, and painted it on the boards, and it's made a really good job of the boards. No rust at all. In previous years I'd paint a little bit of oil on them, and the oil did tend to dry off and run off them and dry off them, and you'd end up then with more rust on them than this. So yeah, nice job, because there's nothing worse when you go to the field and there's a lot of rust there and stuff sticking, and you're in there the tractor all the time, and it's slowing you down from getting going at and getting the ploughing done for those first number of hours. So that was a good job. No metal needed on the plough itself, all the points is good on it, so that's good. And last year we did replace the skimmers, so they all got new metal last year, and yeah, so they were working very well. So yeah, that's really it. Just get that leg and do the bit of greasing on it, and that'll be that done. 6-9 to steps is all done and dusted on it. 2 steps on each side. One of them is a new step, and the other one then was this is the new step here. The other step we took it off and got it painted, so they're all done and dusted, and we did a wee bit of extra cosmetic work on this. Here was painted new black on that. It was all stone chips, and It's also doing a little bit of rust here on the bottom of the mudguard, so we just cleaned it all off and just run away line on it, and it was primered and repainted, so it just keeps that right as well. I'd like to get the 6.9 a nice polish, but I'll refrain from doing it until all the ploughing and drilling is done, because I think it deserves, had a busy year, and it deserves to have a bit of a polish and a freshen up. So that's kind of what's happening here. On to the next part of the video. Alright, so this is something a little bit different. We are going to be looking at some potato digging. So why have we got some potato digging going on the farm? Well, this is part of quite a large block of land that we leased last year. So in this area, if you're renting land, I know land in all ends of the country is hard to come by to rent, and it's quite costly, but in this area especially, we've got to compete with vegetable growers. Now, the problem with the vegetable growers is that they can give a much higher price per acre than what we can if we are taking land to grow wheat or barley or rapeseed, oats or maize or something like that in it. They can give 2.5 times the price basically than what we can give for it to be from what's feasible for us to rent it at. They can give double to 2.5 times the price. So to compete with them, what we have to do is, if we can take a piece of land on a long-term lease, for us to be able to compete with them over a long term, we have to be able to put potatoes into it for 1 year of the term of the lease. So that's what we're doing. So some of the land that we rented last year didn't go into crop this year, and what we done was we put it into potatoes instead, and we have done that with Lochran potatoes here. They're working with us and growing potatoes with us. So so thought I'd go over, put the drone up as the digging was going on, and I thought it's just something that you might like to see, and you might enjoy looking at it. So yeah, it's a hell of a setup, and it's certainly worth a look and worth seeing. Basically, there is 2 tractors and harvesters working in the field, and I don't know, there must be 6 or 8 tractors and trailers then drawn away from them. It's a hell of a setup, and as I say, like, they can rip through it and get through a lot of work very, very fast, which is what you want, because especially if it comes this time of the year, a wet day or a couple of wet days can change ground conditions very quickly. So if you know there's rain coming, to be able to rip through it and get through a lot of work quickly before that, and get a lot of maybe wetter fields or fields like that are susceptible to flooding or something like that, to be able to get through them fast and get them out of the way is super. There's a big gear here on the right hand side. I think it's a 7. It's like a 7.0. Big tractor, and it's certainly no bother to do this. It's got a stock chopper on the front, and I think they're both Grimmy. I think they're Grimmy potato harvesters. They're probably 2. I think they're 2 rows, and you can see all the trailers. They kind of have it's all boxes, but the boxes themselves then have this, like, it's almost like a bag on the inside of them, and excuse me, from what I can see, the idea of the bag is that when that elevator is up over the boxes, it drops the potatoes into that bag, and it just gives it a soft cushion for the potatoes to land on, and it stops the potatoes getting damaged or anything like that happening to them. This tractor here has the same setup as the potato harvesters, but it doesn't have the elevator for putting it into the trailer. Instead, it has an elevator that pops the potatoes over and drops it in the rows on either side. So it drives up and down. It clears a space for the trailer, the tractor and trailer to drive. So it's not driving on any rows of potatoes. So yeah, the the tractor trailer basically drives up in that little roadway that it makes, and the potato harvester then can lift up the double rows of potatoes, and it's no problem for it to do that. So so all John Deere's, some of the tractors are mostly all newer tractors, like 155Ms, there's 175s. I think there's two 6175Rs for two fresh enough tractors, and then the 7.0, and there's a couple of 30 series as well. I'd definitely seen one 7530, and maybe I've seen two. I can't remember. There's so many tractors drawn. It's just hard to keep track of it. But there was a really nice 6930 there as well, with a front linkage and PTO. Nice to see representation of lots of different models. This field here is a little bit of an odd shape to it. It has a bit of a corner there, you can see at the far side of those trees. Nice field. It's a good sized field. There's about 22 acres in it, roughly 21 acres, 22 acres, something like that. And this will be going once the potatoes is out of it. We'll be putting wheat in it now, and we should get a good crop of wheat in it then for next year. So I'll probably leave it at that, and we'll add in a little bit of music now, and you can watch the rest of the potato digging.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on
Alright, so moving away from the potatoes now for the minute, we're back spreading some slurry. So the pressure's on now. We want to get the slurry all finished before the 7th of October. So that's the close date when they enforce the slurry ban. So yeah, trying to, a little bit of a push on to try and get all the slurry out for that. But that, it won't be a problem. We should, I hope, to have all the slurry out before the end of this week, so before the end of September, which would be great. So that's the plan. So we're playing some slurry here at this field at the minute. Now this field has got a little bit of a problem, that we've had an ongoing chickweed problem in it for the last few years. So sprayed it earlier on this year. We've cut 2 cuts of silage of it, and we were going to graze it a couple of weeks ago, and we've seen a lot of chickweed there again. I mean a lot of chickweed. It was all over the place. So before we grazed it, I came in and I burnt it off. So you can see the remains of the chickweed is all there and all dead, which is great. So what I'm doing now at the minute is I'm applying some slurry onto it, and we're going to have to address a couple of issues with it. So, well, one thing, chickweed needs a nitrogen rich environment to grow, and this field was going to have that because it gets slurried a couple of times a year, maybe 3 times a year some years, like this year. So it gets slurried a few times a year. It also gets a couple of gallons of nitrogen for the silage as well, so it gets plenty of nitrogen, and that's what chickweed needs to grow. So it's getting that. But another issue is this field, it's about 10 years since we reseeded it, and 9 or 10 years, and it's quite open in the bottom. So you can see a lot of patches there where the chickweed has grown. There's not that much grass, so you can see kind of this area here, you know, it's all patches of it here, and the chickweed just seems to have took over in those areas. So what we done was, after we sprayed it, we let all our heifers into it. They've had it down nice and low. I'm applying a bit of slurry on it at the minute, and we're going to stitch in some multi-species grass seed into it, and hopefully it will then, with the bit of nitrogen that's going to get out of the slurry, it'll help to grow, get the grass to grow and not the chickweed, and it'll bring the grass on for next year's silage. Hopefully it should be a nice thick crop of grass and a lot less weeds in it. So that's what we're hoping. So we'll see how it works out. But yeah, just trying to get it all finished now today. We might be going to get the grass seed, if the grass seed comes in time. Might be going to get the grass seed sown tomorrow, which would be great if we could, and at least it'll get a bit of time then to, still quite mild, get a bit of time for it to germinate and to get up over ground. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. We're going to be doing a slurry video for the weekend. We're going to do a review. I was hoping to do this a couple of weeks ago. We didn't get it done for one reason or another. Going to do a review of the dribble bow. So basically, one season in, what we think of it, how it's going on, and all the likes. And yeah, so that'll be the weekend's video. Hopefully, get all that done over the next couple of days, and we'll get that up maybe Saturday, Sunday. We'll see how it goes. So that's kind of what's going on the farm this week. Just before I go, I just want to give a quick mention to the sad news that broke last weekend of the passing of the farming YouTuber, the Homeless Farmer. I've been following him more or less from when he started a number of years ago, and I didn't realise he was as sick as he was, and yeah, so I was quite shocked and surprised at the news. So yeah, an unbelievable story. If you don't know who the Homeless Farmer is, you really should just look him up. At the age of 2-3 years old, he was in a really bad accident that involved him losing his hands and arms, and the story after that is quite inspiring. It didn't stop him from succeeding in life and continuing with his passion for farming. Just an unbelievable story, and what we can do with our hands, he could do with his feet basically. So it's certainly worth a look, and if you haven't followed him or haven't seen him before, check him out, the Homeless Farmer. And he does some videos as well where he explains in detail exactly what happened when he was small, and I think there's actually some of his family members talks on it as well, and explains it from their point of view too. So yeah, just check it out, and really sad news to hear about Andy, so rest in peace Andy. So that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. As I said, we will be back at the weekend with another video. Don't forget, if you're always subscribed to the channel, hit the sub button, leave a like on the video, comment down below. All that stuff helps the channel, and I'll be very grateful if you can do that. So until the weekend, take care, and I'll see you then.